What is going on, guys? We are back with another video today, and I guess it's the first time I get to say with a Madden 23 video. I know everything kind of broke yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to play the beta because when I downloaded it with the code, for some reason it was asking me to enter another code when I got in. I wasn't that pressed to play the beta. You know, we're so far away still from Madden 23 releasing. I think it's like mid-August. And it's just like, well, you know, what's really the rush, especially if it's not going to work? I'm not going to, you know, sit on Twitter figuring it out. I just waited, and it works now. But obviously, I can't show any of the beta. So what you're going to be seeing is likely going to be the, Madden 22 gameplay of some teams. I'm not 100% sure. Of course, all the teams, just like last year's beta, were available. Just like last year's beta, though, all the rookies are kind of just randomers. You know, I played as the Packers, played as a couple of teams, tried to test out some of the X factors, and, you know, guys like Christian Watson are like 89 speed, 65 overall. So, you know, it's obviously not going to be, and he's not going to be that slow. So none of that can be really, like, leaked or shared. I don't even know how much stuff you're even allowed to talk about, but I imagine it's fine to talk about, you know, basic gameplay stuff. There's a lot of stuff that is technically broken in the beta. There's also some things that I worry about. Maybe it's not, you know, something that they focused on and it will be fixed, but it's just the small things like Aaron Rodgers still having short hair. You know, it's just like, why? You know, he's had long hair for, I don't know, I can't remember if they put him with long hair in Madden 22, as he obviously grew it out for the whole year and he was playing with it. That's weird to say. But of course, for some of the things you guys wanted to actually hear about, which are probably gameplay related, you guys know that I'm decent, I'm okay at noticing things like issues with linemen not blocking properly, you know, like just running away from plays. I played on all Madden, I played on Pro. I didn't really see that, which once again, it could just be the beta, it could be things being tuned lowly. You know, I went against some pretty, great pass rushers. They weren't able to get to me, which I can't tell if it's a good or a bad thing. One of the main things, though, which I think kind of, revolves around escape artists being really broken last year in the competitive scene, is I think they maybe nerfed, mobility a little too much. Once again, I was on all Madden. I can't remember how it was on Pro, but anytime you hit sprint, even with the fastest quarterback possible, I played with Lamar, I played with Kyler, they insta-shed. They instantly shed off of what's happening, even if they're still pass rush. So if I'm scrambling, 5-10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, they're instantly shedding the linemen to try and get me, because of course that was one of the big issues. Even with the QB contain, you could not stop mobile quarterbacks. Obviously, one of the things that was noted is that escape artist is no longer, like a random ability. It's a full-on X Factor ability, and like I said, with that knowledge, it's very hard to activate. I activated it once. Maybe I shouldn't have been so lazy and tried it again. I activated it once and immediately got sacked. Once again, there was a guy like 3 yards away from me. If this was last gen Madden, last year's next-gen Madden, I would have easily been able to escape. Instantly block shedded once again and smoked me. It seemed like the speed up from escape artist was nowhere near what it used to be. I'm not sure how you get out of the zone outside of a sack. Like, I wonder if there is a way, like, let's say it's really broken somehow. I don't know. Will it still just go away at some time? Like, I don't even know, but the way you activated it, at least in the beta, was 4 10-yard plus runs. Scrambles, that is. Doesn't count for read options. I tried that. Doesn't work. So that's really tough. I mean, especially like I said, with the players immediately block shedding, that's really brutal. Of course, some of the other things like, beating the jam at the line of scrimmage for a wide receiver seem very overly dramatic, which, I mean, isn't the worst thing. If you're watching, real-life football, if you see, an elite wide receiver just completely beat the press, like by swatting the hands down and running past him, it is pretty dramatic. You can see it pretty easily, and it was like the first thing I seen. I threw right to Hopkins, and he just burned him. Of course, the truck ability, as far as like a power back goes, it actually did feel like I was using a power back. When I was using Dylan, he was falling forward without, having to use the truck move, and it didn't seem like latchy. It just kind of felt like a natural fall forward. I'm not sure what this whole, I haven't looked at the gridiron notes. That'll be a video that comes out tomorrow probably. I'll record it right after this. But I didn't look at the gridiron notes for the new game. Is it a new game engine or is it a new game engine feature? The way it felt like similar, but a lot of the animations did feel a little bit cleaner and a little bit smoother. It seems like tackle battles are back. You know, I was able to spam A when it prompted me to, and I was able to stiff arm off of a player. It seems like the tackling for like multiple player tackles seemed a lot better, and it's not like a kung fu movie where there's a group of people waiting to fight Bruce Lee, and instead of just rushing him at once, they all take a turn. You know, one goes in, then the next one goes in after he's done fighting. It actually seemed like the gang tackles actually were working. Once again, some of the other things, you know, like a stiff arm animation, a high step kind of slip off, very overly dramatic, but not in like, you know, it's overly dramatic, but it's not in like a bad way per se. It just seemed like, I don't know, it was like a new animation they wanted us to see. But there definitely felt like a ton of new animations. I threw up a couple of jump balls, and it wasn't just straight up picked off, even on all Madden. It was, you know, the AI kind of went for swats when they were out of position. You know, there was a couple, I don't remember even catching one, but then again, I didn't really throw too many to great players, especially tall ones. But, you know, it wasn't just like auto picked off. The zone coverages, you know, like it's not, you know, you are kind of supposed to be beaten man if you're playing off and you're running a curl route, but, you know, Jair Alexander in man coverage playing 10 yards off of like maybe like a low 80s, high 70s wide receiver burn just like you would expect, you know, a curl route to go. So I'm a little worried about the coverages, but once again, I've never been super great with like, you know, oh, this is cover 2. This is absolutely going to work. And then, you know, you look at it and it doesn't work because the game just knows. But I will say it did seem like I took a shot at one point, and even though the player wasn't looking at the play, he was playing something else. As soon as I threw it, he knew. Like, he knew to come back and turn over for that. Once again, it's kind of like the QB contains. There's just some things in the game and real life that just can't work. Lamar Jackson is a cheat code in real life. He's really hard to stop in general. And you have to remember the fact that Lamar is playing behind an offensive line that he can't perfectly see, you know, when someone's going to shed off, where someone is, you know, if he's going to scramble outside the pocket. But when you're playing Madden, you get an overview. So you kind of know what's going to happen before it happens. So if they just made Lamar Jackson with escape artists and able to outrun people like he does in real life, it would be very hard to stop. And that's kind of the way Madden has been since abilities came back into the game, you know, a couple Maddens ago, you know, with stuff like Escape Artist and Gunslinger and all that. So it's, once again, it's kind of a situation where I mentioned it before with other games. It's like, is it realistic in GTA that you can roll your car over when you flip it over? You know, and you can call your car in when you're nowhere near a garage or something. No, but there's some things that just have to happen because it's a video game, right? It's simulation as much as it can be. I'm not going to completely defend the game. There was a lot of bad things, but just stuff like that, I can't necessarily blame. Like, in my opinion, I would rather play a Madden game where scrambling with a quarterback just doesn't work than to have what we've had in previous years where it's literally impossible to stop someone with escape artists, even if it, once again, in real life, is fair. You know, it's tough, but it makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of you guys probably want to also hear about the kind of, what the hell is it? I don't think it's not Field Sense. I think that's the name of the new engine. Is it whatever that, like, that little radar that allows you to put the ball where you want it to go? Maybe I was using it wrong. If I'm not mistaken, it's just a complete bluff, if you will. It just seems like ball leading with an actual radar. So it actually shows you kind of where the ball is headed / where, you know, where you're kind of placing it. Now, maybe that's the way they marketed it. But it seemed like it was something new. The way I used it, the way I felt it, the way I could control it, it just seemed like leading the ball. Like, you know how if you're trying to throw a slant and there's a guy trailing, you're going to, you know, angle your analog stick to the right. It didn't seem like it changed a whole lot, like, compared to other years. It just seemed like normal ball leading. Like, I try to throw up the ball, and as soon as I click the button, I try to slam the analog stick far away just to see if I could just completely throw the, like, if the ball's, it's a deep jump ball to the left, can I make this ball go all the way to the right? And I couldn't. It would just make the ball be behind him, you know? So it's literally just pass leading, in my opinion. That's the way it looked. I'm trying to think of any other thing that I could, you know, that's kind of quote-unquote new that we were able to actually experience. The pass rushing felt a little bit more natural. The running, like the speed rush didn't seem like it was a predetermined animation where your guy's just going to completely outrun him. It actually kind of seemed like you were able to choose kind of what you were doing. You're going to speed rush into him and then do something rather than automatically speed rush the edge and then, whether you want to cut inside or whatever. Another thing, once again, it might have just been coincidence. I don't know, but I ran the ball a lot, and I took a lot of hits, even on all Madden, with the quarterbacks. Not on read options, just straight up scrambles. Didn't really fumble. I think I fumbled once out of like 15 carries. Hopefully that's a thing, and, coming up. Even if you have to hold right bumper, once again, I don't even know if scrambling is going to be a thing, because like I said, it was very tough to scramble. Once again, after a little while, though, maybe the AI is just kind of like, okay, this guy's clearly just scrambling, we're going to QB contain. But it wasn't just the edge that was containing, it was the inside. I would try to attack the inside, and as soon as I hit the sprint button, it's not as soon as I got to the players or the lane, it was as soon as I hit the sprint button, they would insta-shed the whole line, all four. It wasn't just the edge or anything like that, it was the whole freaking line. Unless there's a new defensive assignment where you can have the DTs, the interior guys, also defend the run. I don't think that's, quote-unquote natural. Kind of went into that already with, maybe that's just their way of stopping something that's just too broken. It's, once again, rather have it completely not work than to be just taking over the game as it has. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot more that I can think of. I didn't think the coverages were perfect. Didn't think they played them as well as they should, especially with some of the more elite players. And I kind of mentioned it. I know it's man coverage with Jair, but some of the zones as well. They just weren't playing their zones. Some of the core issues that need to be fixed. But some of the core issues that were problems, like we said, with the cornerback just mossing players, at least when I experienced it, that wasn't the case. Maybe it was the DBs that I was going, the talent of DBs I was going against, perhaps. Once again, if the quarterback thing is, like I said, if you can even scramble anyways, where you don't actually fumble every single time you're touched, even if you have to hit right bumper, which I didn't really hit too much, that's a win. The tapping A thing, that could have just been a thing against the AI, but, I had one with Rondale Moore against a corner or a safety. He's kind of small. I don't know if he should be getting those. I also think that if you try those, you're more likely to actually get fumbled, like with the strip and all that. So that's, something, but as far as how different does the game feel, it's pretty similar. I feel like the change of direction stuff slightly better for defense. It's not crazy better. If the things that I heard were promised with the AIs playing smarter, like the quarterbacks and all that, playing smarter, I've got to play the game before I can recommend it, but I'll say it's looking promising if you're just like a non-online player. As far as online goes, it's a completely different beast, so I don't know if I'll even ever be able to give you a proper opinion on that, let alone pre-launch, proper gameplay. And once again, there's a lot of bugs and all that, so yeah, that's pretty much my impressions. I don't remember what I said about the game last year, but as far as this year goes, it's more promising, but I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, I'm so hyped for the game, dude. It's gonna be the juice. It's gonna be the best game ever for Madden. But it definitely feels promising, and I'll have to look into the gridiron notes to see what kind of stuff is in there, of course. But yeah, that's kind of my reaction. A lot of positives, but a few negatives. Once again, it is a beta, so how much of this will be in the actual launch? The way that this, I can't remember. Like I said, I'm not perfect with the timeline of things, but the way this beta came out and how long it's active really kind of makes me feel like they're super proud of it. So that could be a good sign, perhaps, or maybe it's a smokescreen and the game at launch is going to be completely different to the beta and it's going to be worse. I'm not 100% sure. Trying to think about like juke moves. They're a little bit more evasive, like they actually worked against the AI a little bit. But yeah, there's not, from my personal experience, there wasn't anything crazy. Like I said, that whole cone throwing thing, it just felt like normal pass leading, which if that's their main feature, unless like I said, I'm doing it wrong, which I just don't. If I had to put a bet on it, I'd say 95% chance I was doing it right. It just seems like pass leading. So I don't know. Maybe I'll learn more as the game goes on, or maybe when it's at launch or on the way to launch, we'll learn more. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, maybe leave a like, subscribe if you're new. We're going to do a ton of Madden 23 content when I can, when it appears, when it's worth noting, worth uploading. The trailer, there really wasn't much in the trailer anyways, and of course, as far as last year's copyright goes, didn't really even want to hype up the trailer to give them, quote-unquote advertisements if they're going to play that, like, scroungy little game, like, trying to claim a whole video off of 1 minute of trailer, which, once again, didn't even really show anything, to be honest. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, tomorrow will be Gridiron Notes, reaction, kind of, like, looking at that stuff, assuming I can get even, like, a terrible resolution, well, like 720p, 1080p, bad frame rate, recording. If not, then maybe not. But yeah, it should be Gridiron Notes tomorrow and Nighthawks week 1 with a rebuild probably on Sunday. So yeah, look forward to that. Hope you guys come back. If you guys have played the beta, yeah, let me know what you guys think of it. Maybe I'm completely wrong and you're like, you're an idiot. Clearly you use the right analog stick with right bumper and it actually works perfectly. Let me know in the comment section below what you think if you have played the beta. And that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!